Okay, so let's start here now. All right. So what is lag actually? Like, now in GG, we always face a state where we have lag and all, right? And I've seen in the interviews and all, many people, they just say, all right, if you have a lag, how can we solve it? And they straight away say, don't tell that, integrated is good or parallel or replicate is good and all. So they want to understand how do you think to solve it. So my aim here would be to generate a logic of how we can approach it, right? So before that, what is a lag? Okay, so I'll just read that out for you. So latency or lag is the period of time that has passed between when a change occurred in the source and the current point in time. So for example, I inserted a row at 5 a.m. and I committed it. And if that row comes in the target at 5:10, so it means the lag is of 10 minutes, right? Straightforward. Now let's see what does it mean for the extract. Extract full latency is the time that has elapsed since the change occurred to the source and the time it was extracted and returned it to the trail file. So basically, how much time extract took to write the transaction into the trail file, right? For replicate lag is what? The time that has elapsed from the source table change to the time it was applied to the target. So straight away, as the first example, I insert a row at 5 a.m. in the source, and that row gets inserted in the target at 5:10. So my lag is in the replicate is 10 minutes. All right. Now there are two important things. I hope all of you would have done info all, right? So here, so what can we see? The program status group and these 2 points, lag at checkpoint and time since checkpoint. So what are these two? So let's see that. So first, I'll show what is time since checkpoint. Just give a example. For example, if you're reading any books, okay, so you have a book mark, right, as a tracker till which point you have read and all. So let's take that. For example, I read till page 5, all right, and I keep my marker at the page 5. So time since checkpoint, it means till how, uh, till what time or since how much time have you not updated your checkpoint file. So let's say here my marker is the checkpoint and the book is the checkpoint file. The thing is, if now in the next half an hour I read 2-3 pages, so I'll just move my marker to page 2, sorry, like 5, so 6 and 7. So thing is, my checkpoint file is updated, and if I close my book, for example 1 hour, so here it means that my checkpoint file is not updated for an hour. Okay, even if you don't get it, it's fine. I will show it with an example. So what is time since checkpoint? Each process has its own checkpoint file. Now what is this checkpoint? I'll just show a small diagram. Any doubt, please stop me, okay? Anytime. So I'll just show you a brief of how the GG structure is. So that's your source. And this is your target. That's my extract. That's my pump. Replicate, I'll draw it here. And the source of my extracts are the Burido and archives. So these are here. Right. So in terms of extract, so what will extract do? I think we all know it will read from the Burido archives. That is the source for the extract, and it writes to the trail file. So here at any point, if example extract fails, so how will it know, okay, till what point it has read and till what point it has written into the trail files. So all this information is there in the checkpoint file. It works the same way for pump and replicate also. So here, I just do a slideshow again. Yeah. So the thing is, whenever a process sees a commit in the transaction, a checkpoint is made in the checkpoint file. And normally we see an increase in that time because when the process is stopped. So when the process is stopped, then the checkpoint file is not going to be updated, right? So as long as it is stopped, that much lag it will increase. Or when the extract or replicate is processing a long transaction. When I say long, okay, so let me speak in terms of replicate now, because today I plan to show you what all the steps we can do for the replicate over here. So just this is my network. Pardon my drawing, please. All right. So, right. So pump. Sorry. The pump will read from the local trails, and here you have a collector process which will take everything and write in the trail files. So let me take a square, and this I'll take blue for the RMT trail. All right. Now there can be a case where a single transaction it spanned across many archives, sorry, many trail files. Right. Now what replicate started with the from this trail file, and one transaction. What can I give a color? I'll try this. Okay, so for example, a transaction started from this trail file, okay, and it spanned across, for example, 30 trail files, okay, in between. So what will be the status over there? Now, when you do an info replicate, right, you see this point, right, like till what is the trail file it is reading until what RBA it is. So here, for example, so here this is trail file sequence. I think I gave one, right? Yeah. Trail file sequence 1. I'll make it bold for you. And this star, right? That is the start of the long transaction. Its RBA is, for example, 5. I gave 44705 just as an example. So here, when I say 44704, it means that the replicate has read fully till this point, that is before the start of that long transaction. And here it means that it is guaranteed that replicate has read or applied everything which was there till this point, right? Now here, when the replicate starts to read the long transactions, right? So now this is sequence 1. It will read this whole, then it will go to sequence 2, 3, 4. Now, when it is doing that, the this one info replicate, this will not be updated because it has not reached a commit yet. So here, this checkpoint lag will go on increasing 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and all. All right. Any doubt in this? If you're not understanding, I'll say it again because the reason why I'm trying to
Can
because
you please
I
tell
cannot show
once
my
again?
time. Yeah, sure. Just clear it out. I'll do one thing. I'll create a new just for the replicate itself. All right, I'll take a new one. So this is your target. Now here, I'm not drawing the extract and all, okay? So this side is all source. Assume you have the extract and pump over here. This is your replicate. And let's assume that there was a very long or big transaction which took at least 30 trade rails, all right? So just draw it this way. One more, okay? Assume you have 30 here. I mean, I cannot draw that much. So here, all right? This is trail sequence 1. That's my trail sequence 2. That's my trail sequence 3, 4, and 30. All right. Now, assuming that, I'll put this output here itself. I hope it is good enough. Okay, fine. Okay, assuming that now I did info replicate over here. So here you can see till which point the replicate has applied. All right. So it has applied all the transactions till the trail sequence 1, and this is the RBA. Now, assuming a long transaction. So I had taken star, right? So this starts somewhere here in the trail file sequence 1. Okay, and as I told, my replicate has read till this 44704. So I'll take a color, yeah, 44704. If you want, I'll just create some more space. Okay. I'll write it again. 44704. Till this point, okay? And from this RBA, that is 44705, that long transaction is starting, all right, from trail file 1. And it is spanning over almost 30 trails here. Okay, I hope now you understood till here. Then I will start. This diagram is okay. Okay, great. Now, assuming my replicate was here, okay, till this point, and after that, it started to read the long transaction. Now, thing is, when I say long transaction, means the commit is very, I mean, at the end here. So unless and until replicate encounters a commit, all right, this RBA or this trail sequence is not going to change. So if my, assuming this is 0 for now, okay, so now my replicate is here, all right, at this point. So it's fine. Now when it starts reading from here, right, so this is read file sequence 1, then it will go to 2, 3, 4, so on. Till this point, the checkpoint file will not be updated because it will be updated only if it finds the commit statement. So here you might see a case where the checkpoint lag will just increase 10 minutes and then 20, 30. I have even seen having checkpoint log of 2-3 hours also. So thing is, internally it is not stuck in this case. So when it reaches this trail sequence, last trail where it finds the commit, all right, at that point, this trail file will be changed $30 and that whatever the RBA was. Is that okay? Clear? I'll explain how to then check, if it is stuck or what it is doing. But is this diagram? Yeah, please. Yes, please.
Yeah, this is clear. But my doubt is like the long run transaction has written data to all the trail files from starting from 1 to 30.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, it's not written to single trail file.
I mean, if it can fit, why not? For example, your trail file size is only 500, for example, 100 MB, right? And if your transaction is huge, then it will not fit, right? So it has to span more trail files.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, got it.
I have a question. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, the extract will read only committed transactions. So in
Correct.
this case, you are saying uncommitted, and why it will start reading uncommitted?
Okay, this I'm talking about replicate. So when I say replicate, so it is reading from the trail file, right, which the extract has sent. So when if extracts writes anything to the trail file, it is assumed that it is a committed transaction, isn't it?
Right.
Blindly, you can assume it, right? So here I'm just trying to show you how to check for the replicate first, then the part 2, I will show the extract. So I thought to start with the
so it just starts applying only, but the lag will get reduced until it reaches the commit.
It will increase. Checkpoint file.
But in the meanwhile, backend it applies those transactions to database. Or no?
Exactly. Yes. So I'll show you that. I mean, I'll try to explain to you how you can check, because just if you see the checkpoint lag, you should not assume it that it's a long transaction. Now, what I have seen for what if it is blocked? So if the replicate session is blocked by some other session, even at that point, the checkpoint lag will increase.
Right.
And also now, how to check? So I thought to show you this afterwards, but since you asked, I'll tell here. So now here, when you do info for replicate name, and since it has started to process the long transactions, the checkpoint lag will go on increasing. So to check, is it really doing some work? So the point here, what I faced, people ask me how to really know, is it working or not? That's the first thing. So to send for replicate name status, right? So this, when you do this thing, okay, now for example, your replicate is a trail file sequence 4. So in this output, it will show that it is reading trail sequence number 4 till what RBA it read and how many rows were affected. So when you keep on firing this statement, send for replicate name status, the output will change. So this, then now you can relax. Okay, fine, it is applying. So that is fine. Is that okay? Clear?
Yeah.
But there is also a case when this statement will not work. You to send replicate name status, it times out. Has anyone faced this?
Yes, Shrikant.
Yeah, so that's the thing actually. There's a
Yes.
case. So now how to check now? Now it is timing out and this happens, okay? So now if you're in a fix, okay, now what to how to know if it's really working or not. So what I do, I will go to the database and then try to see what the replicate session is actually doing. So okay, I'm sorry, I'm just breaking the flow here because these things were to be taught, in between, but it's fine. So what I do, you need to find the replicate session, what it is actually doing in the target, right? Because what is a replicate? GG is what? It's an SQL apply, basically. But I mean, the replicate is just applying the transactions into the target, right? So here, this is the query I use. I'll just put in the notepad for you guys. Now this will work, I think, till 12.2. Okay, 12.2 with GG. So what I do, I select the instance ID, SID, serial hash, the username, SQL ID, the SQL child number, status, login time, last quality, module, event from the $GV session, because it will have a session, right? And where module equal to the process name. So here in our case, I think this RA, right? So it will be RA star. Same way you can do for the extract also. So this will exactly
to find which event
is to find everything about the replicate, what it is actually doing in the target. So because see from the let's say if this statement times out, then how will you know, right, what it is doing? Or if the replicate is blocked by some other session, how will we know? So first, at least try to find, okay, what is the SID and the serial hash of the replicate session. After you find that, check for any blocking. Is your replicate being blocked? No? Fine. All right. So I'll just try to show you one screenshot. This will give you more idea actually. Here you go. So what I did, I fired that statement. I got the SID, serial hash. I got the SQL ID and status active. Okay. And here in the module, this is how it appears. OGG hyphen replicate name or extract name, whatever, open data source. So here you can see the date event, is it stuck or not, whatever you want. So here now you have to see in terms of the DB tuning part. Because what I have seen, since the replicate is also a session, right? You cannot do everything from the GG end. We have to debug from the database end also. So what I did normally here, replicate was having lag. So I just fired this statement, at few intervals, and I just saw, okay, the SQL ID was changing and also it is working. It is not stuck. And the last ET call was almost 0, right? So my replicate is not stuck, it is applying. So by this, you can actually check, what is my replicate doing in the database. Is that okay? Fine until now? I'll explain more and more, but till this point.
How do we find what is the actual transaction that's running long?
You have the SQL ID. So for example, if the replicate is seeing a long transaction, the SQL ID, it will not change, right? Just think in terms of a normal session. If that long running job is running even in the source, so what will be the session status, right? Same you will have over here. Only thing is the replicate is applying here. So when you see a particular, I mean, what you have to do, you have to fire this statement, 2-3 times and just check, okay, the SQL ID is not changing, and the last ET call, you will see, and from the events, you will get all the information, right? And then you have to debug, okay, what is that SQL ID? Who fired it? I mean, what was the purpose of it? So here we come along with the application team, because as you guys know, the data or the data logic is all it's all known by the application team. So we work with them to understand it. Is it okay, normal, or is it by mistake, and all these things. But this is not the only thing we do. We do few more steps. I have shown that in this slide, but at least till this point, is it fine?
Yes.
All right. Now, I hope, I mean, if yes, but try this in your environment. So a new trick here is, now this query will not work in GG19C, or I think also in 12.3, because what we guys did directly from 12.2, we upgraded to 19C. Right. So here for 19C, the query is, I just paste that over here. Only thing is the module column here, it is empty. So here I use the process field. And what is this process ID? Where is my paint? So this, right? This thing, this process ID. This. So do info replicate name, and you will have this process ID. Just use it here. So here it will be 11114445. So with this, you will get all the information about the replicate or extract.
Could you share these queries?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, we will. But it's straight. It's straightforward, right? I'm just telling this one, the process field, which is the important field, and I'm firing from $GV session itself. Okay, one doubt I will ask you guys: will the pump have a session in the database? If yes, source or target?
No.
No.
Everyone is no, right? Anyone with yes option? And why? Because the pump directly deals with the trail file. It does not has any requirement to log in either to the source or target, right? Great. Any doubt up till now? Or shall I go ahead?
Yes.
Slide number 2, right? Yeah. Okay. So time since checkpoint means you can see the increase in the time since checkpoint when extract pump or replicate was stopped, or when the extract or replicate is processing a long running transaction, or if it is blocked by some other session. Now lag at checkpoint, this is the first column, right? So this is actually the lag, the straight away we can say. For extract, lag is the difference in seconds between the time that a record was processed by the extract based on the clock and the timestamp of that record in the data source. Means, for example, if a row was committed at 5 AM and extract wrote that row in the trail file at 5:05, means the lag was of 5 minutes. Straightforward. And for the replicate, the lag is the difference in seconds between the time that the last record was processed by the replicate based on the clock and the timestamp of the record in the tree. So I'll just show you in a small diagram here. Now I hope you might have used the log dump, right, to see your trail files.
Yes.
Increase the size. Okay. Yeah, trail file. So here for every row, which is like for every data, right, it will have the timestamp of that when that row timestamp of when that data was written in the trail and when it was committed in the source. So based on this time, okay, so here when the, for example, the time was 5 a.m. when the record was committed in the source, commit time in source, and when the replicate is actually applying this transaction, replicate is applying this at 5:10, right? So 10 minutes was the lag. So layman term, I mean, if the row is like it's at 5 a.m. it was committed in the source, and at 5:10 if it was there in the target, means the lag was of 10 minutes. Okay. Now, okay, now let's see various cases. Okay, when you have a lag and how you can approach it. So first thing, what I do, if there is lag in the replicate, okay, as you can see here, 2 hours lag. I first check how many fail files came. For example, if the
hello sir,
is, yeah, hello.
What is meant lag?
Okay, I think you joined late, no problem. So lag in a layman term, I'll say if the record is inserted or committed in the source at 5 a.m. and to see that row in the target it took 10 minutes, it means that is the lag. Is that okay? Clear?
Yes sir, thank you.
Thank you. So now I'm seeing the lag in the replicate, right, for 2 hours. So now first thing what I check, is there a spike in the trail files? So for example, my replicate is, okay, I'll use a notepad here, it will be easy for me. So here the replicate is in the trail file sequence 1, and when I checked, so how I check, I'll just show you guys from the GG SCI prompt. I hope you know why we use SH. It's like the shell prompt, like in SQL Plus we use the exclamatory sign, right? Same way here we use SH ls-lart. I'll just do this star pipe tail. So with this, for example, there are 30 trails, right? So I'll see that output right here. So in the last, I will see as 30, isn't it? So with this, I'll first understand, okay, now there's a spike in the trail file. It means there was some huge load in the source side. So this lag is not a fake one. Agreed, right? Because people, lag is not a taboo. Like, if you have a lag, it does not mean you always have an issue. It's fine to have a lag. Now we have to investigate it. Okay, what is the cause? Is it clear? So the first case, I'm saying, okay, there's a spike in the trail files. So then we check with the source team, guys, have you done anything over here? And of course, then we get all the, and then we talk and all, no? Yeah. So,
about the trail file, the increase in the trail file, is it the local trail file or the remote trail file that increases?
Remote trail file. I'm talking in this session only in terms of the replicate. Okay. Now here, what I do, I'll first try to see info. I'll fire this statement info replicate name. So always it is not required that you will have a long transaction, right? So when you do info replicate name, fire this 2-3 times and just check, is this RBA changing? If yes, okay, fine. And this output which I showed you over here, it was of that case only. The thing is, there was a load in the data and replicate was processing it faster. So we could see that the SQL ID was changing, almost every 2-3 seconds. So it's fine. My replicate is not stuck and it is working. And also, well, another way to check is the report file. So normally we add this parameter report count every, now I like this one, I do every 1,000 records. The thing is, now here like 2:16:10, almost for less than a second, it's applying 1,000 rows over here. So my replicate is not slow, it's doing fair enough, right? So this way I check if it is stuck or not. So it's not stuck and it's working in good speed. I won't say enough, it's fine, but at least it is not stuck.
A question, Shrikant?
Yeah.
You said the SQL ID changes. If the SQL ID changes, that means it is not long-running transaction, right?
Exactly. So what if, so that's fine, right?
If the SQL ID stays the same, it should be a long-running transaction.
Correct. Well, what I will do, why don't you try it? For example, I hope you might be having some application job, right, which will run long. So just take the start time, approximate, just try to check what is the, just, I would say scan that session. So from that, you will understand. Because if there is so many transactions, but not long ones, it will keep on applying them, right? So the SQL ID will obviously change, right?
Correct. So just question is, if the number of trail files are increasing, that means there is a long-running transaction on the side, right? But on the extract side, it doesn't have a corresponding increase in the trail file on the extract side. It cannot be correlated with the extract, right?
Yes. So what if there is, so for example, there is a huge transaction, right? So even extract will write more trails, isn't it? Right or not? Even extract will write more trails and the pump will keep on sending those trails, because if I am saying in the replicate we are seeing a spike in the trail files, from where it came, from source only, right? So only if extract has written those trail files, it will be there in the target, isn't it?
So at the same time, if you have the spike in the trail file on the source and the target, then you can pretty much say it's a long-running transaction.
See, when you want to say long running, right, I will straight away say, why don't we go and check in the database itself? So there's not, I will say thumb rule, right? So what I will do, I'll not say even a yes or no. I'll just go straight away to the target and check what is that doing. So this will be an exact check, right? Because if you need to drop a mail to the application team, on your investigation, but you need to have some proofs, right? And I cannot speak based on assumptions, or like if you have trail files, it can be a long running. I mean, I would not do that. So I'll just straight away go and check and give all the details to the application team, because even they will ask for proof. Many a times, actually, what I have seen, it's very tough to speak with those folks, actually, application folks. So you got to have proofs. If you don't have, then they will just nag around and it will just go on. So the first thing what I do, we keep a good rapport with them, and when they don't, like if it is an application issue and they don't agree, then we throw all the proofs.
So these queries are not for any source, right? We don't run any of these queries on the source.
We can, why not? Just put extract name here, right? So if you want to see what extract is doing in the database, write here the extract name. See, everything process, take an extract or replicate, those are going, I mean, extract is going to the source database, but replicate is going to the target database. So what are these guys doing? To check that, we can use this as a first step. Okay, well, let me see what is the SID and all, right? If you want to check something, we need to have at least the SID and the serial hash, right? So this is the first step to actually check what are these guys doing. Understanding, everyone?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm just saying, the use cases which can be, right? So even this will help in the interviews, because in like to my friend, one of the friend, the guy straight away asked, how will you improve the performance, or how will you investigate? And he straight away said, don't tell me that use integrated or parallel replicates. First thing is because it will not be wise just to straight away go and do those stuffs, right? You need to first check, well, what is wrong here. So in that, these things will help you out. So because if you face these issues, it will be easy for you to speak over there. And okay, so and the next case, time since checkpoint is increasing. So this we already saw it. If the session is blocked or there's a long running one, and you can check in send replicate name status, and you can just check the RB, if it is moving or not. Okay, so now well, let us say that I use the paint again. Okay, I use a new one. Okay, here only I use. So your replicate is having lag, right? And then you check in what it is doing in the database, and what you found that it is spending time on few SQL IDs, a lot of time actually. You identified that. Okay, now well, let's see what we can do more. So thing is, here you have to work on the tuning part now. So what we do, we'll first check what ID XXX111, okay, for example. So I'll just try to find, okay, what is this doing in the buffer first. So from that, you can get the plan hash value. Okay, and if you see the elapsed time is more, okay, the execution time is slow actually. So then another way would be to check the history of that SQL ID. Just trying to find, was there any good plan for that SQL ID? If it's a new SQL, then sorry, then you don't have anything, no history then. But yes, if you have a history, let's check, if there was any good plan hash of, So if there is, one option would be you can baseline the good plan. Okay, but the baseline will work only for the new session. So you have to first stop your replicate. Give it some time. Normally, what we do, we stop and we flush the bad plan. Flush the bad plan actually. We baseline the good plan, and then we start the replicate. This is one way. Any doubt here? So here, what trick I'm doing, I'm not going and editing anything in the param file. I'm actually trying to tune it from the DB side itself. And this works awesome. Any doubt here?
If the replicate is doing an insert statement, I don't know if he can do it.
No. Then so sorry, yes. Yeah. This actually works like update and all, right?
Yeah,
because
will
insert
not have
statement, we will have 0, right? The plan hash value.
Yes.
The PHP will be 0. So yes, of course, not insert, but there's other things which you can do for inserts. This I'm talking for other stuff. So is it fine? Okay.
Yes.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shikhar, I have a query.
Hello.
Yeah.
You are
Hello.
tuning the actual transaction that is generating the trace, or the transaction of the GoldenGate user?
Of the GG user. So for example, GG is applying the replicate. What it will do, it is applying some transactions, right, based on what it is there in the trail file, but like an SQL apply, right? So even it will use the buffer cache. I mean, it will use everything which a normal user job or a normal user session takes, right? Treat it the same way. Okay, this is one way.
Hello friends, Shrikant here. Sorry to interrupt you. Actually, the full session can be seen in the Udemy class, that is Oracle GoldenGate Beginner to Expert. And as you can see, the session is almost 2+ hours, and this is only the part 1. The part 2, I'll plan it soon. And just to give you a brief about my course, is almost 40+ hours course, in which I have tried to include right from the very basic practical session, like how to find the replication flow. For example, if you have a replicate, then how can you identify its respective pump and extract? And the same way, if you have the extract, how can you find its respective pump and replicate? From such basic topics to many of the real-time advanced topics, like how to add a table to the existing replication flow. I hope you agree that we don't create a new process every day, right? So we need to know how to play with the existing ones. So all those tricks, those activities are there, and also what to do if your trade file is lost. So many such topics have been added here. In the few full latest, I have added how to perform the GG upgrade, migration, everything. And just to give you a more brief, my course is totally free if you're working with IBM, TCS, Cognizant, TechChem, and many such organizations which have tie-up with Udemy. So as per my food knowledge, I know only these four. So in case if your organization also has a partnership with Udemy, yes, my course is available there also. And also in case if you have any doubts, you can just reach me out in this mail ID, or you can WhatsApp me in this. Okay. And yeah, let me know in case of any doubts, and happy for learning, and thank you very much.